Good Saturday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We got another Watchman update. Impact of the Hormuz oil crisis is growing by the day. 6.5 million barrels of oil per day shut down. And next week it's going to get even worse. That's the permanent damage that we're talking about. And Marines being deployed to the Middle East aboard their ships. It looks like we may just invade Iran soon. France and Italy decide to try to negotiate a surrender to Iran. Surprising yet disappointing, of course. Major storm across the United States, hitting power outages in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan particularly. Other states impacted as well. And another storm knocking out power in Hawaii. We got 4 states across the Midwest closing interstates to trucks due to high winds, and a large meat packing plant is going on strike. It will impact prices at the stores. We got that and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates. If you have something to share, make sure you use that word update somewhere in your comment. That does get it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsors, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts. If you have an IRA, 401k, or other retirement account, and you want to find out more about what it would take to move some or all of those assets over into precious metals, physical precious metals that you can hold in your hand, well then, you might want to tap on the link at the end of this video. If you reach out to Genesis Gold Group, they do waive your setup fee if you mention this channel. So that's a major incentive too. All right, friends, let's start off with France and Italy. I know that there's this conflict over against Iran, but one, I didn't realize that France and Italy were involved. And number two, they want to surrender. Let me use their words here. They have opened talks with Iran seeking to negotiate a deal to guarantee safe passage for their ships through the Strait of Hormuz. So basically, they want to concede stuff in order to get right of way to move their ships through the Strait of Hormuz, which is, again, not surprising for France, but disappointing. But Italy, on the other hand, what in the world are you doing? They're not even a party to this conflict, and yet somehow they're trying to surrender, which is just downright confusing. The Iranians probably don't even know what to do with it either. They're just kind of like, okay, if you want to surrender, didn't know you were involved, but okay. Speaking of not really involved, but somehow involved, Turkey has a third ballistic missile fired at its eastern part of the country by Iran. This is the third ballistic missile that has been shot down over Turkey. And Turkey is really trying to stay neutral in this whole thing. But Iran, for some reason, is lobbing these ballistic missiles at the U.S. base in Incirlik, which is not really a U.S. base. It's a NATO base. So that kind of makes a little... And the other problem with that, too, is that the United States stores nuclear weapons there. So that's also an issue. It does seem to be that that Iran is not fully in control of its military. It looks like local commanders are basically making calls, and they are just furious, and some of them are just trying to cause as much mayhem and damage as they possibly can around the world. If Turkey joins the battle against Iran, it will not go well for Iran at all. Turkey is the largest standing military in the Middle East, and it is a powerhouse equipped with NATO weapons and everything. All right, all 6 crew members aboard the U.S. military aircraft, the refueler over Iraq, that crashed in western Iraq, have been confirmed to have perished. The U.S. military was originally saying 4 of the 6 were confirmed to have perished, but they have now ended rescue efforts for the remaining 2. Bad news there for sure. 5 more aerial refuelers These are the KC-135s. 5 more were damaged on the ground by missile attacks on the Saudi Air Force base where they were housed at. The United States has been flying refueling missions out of Saudi Arabia, and Iran hit those aircraft on the ground. No additional U.S. casualties reported, and Defense Department saying that there were no fatalities. 6.5 million barrels per day shut in. Now, this isn't how much oil is not transiting the Strait of Hormuz. This is how much oil is not being pumped every day compared to what it used to be. So this is 6.5 million barrels per day not coming out of the ground. Basically, they just don't have enough storage in the Middle East, and so they're starting to shut down production one after the next. Now, it could be argued that the oil that doesn't go through the Strait of Hormuz will eventually go through the Strait of Hormuz if the blockade is lifted. But shut-ins are a different matter. You can't pump oil out of the ground that wasn't pumped out of the ground earlier, right? So as they shut down, this is the permanent impact of oil on the market, and is widely watched by commodity brokers as the real number. Next week, that number is going to go from 6.5 million to over 12 million barrels of oil per day. Shut in, completely not being pumped out of the ground, not going into storage units. It's a big deal. All military targets have been destroyed on Karg Island, according to President Trump, raising the prospect of a U.S. ground invasion, making that a significantly more likely prospect. Also, what makes that a more likely prospect is the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, consisting of over 5,000 Marines and sailors, have received orders to head to the Middle East. The 31st MEU is currently operating near Japan aboard the USS Tripoli, amphibious assault ship, and the USS San Diego and the USS New Orleans. These 3 ships have been ordered to the Middle East with the 5,000 Marines and sailors aboard. That is going to raise some concerns amongst a lot of people that we might be trying to take Karg Island. Karg Island has all of the oil loading terminals for Iran. Basically, almost all of Iran's oil that gets exported goes through Karg Island, and it looks like President Trump may be considering taking that island as a permanent penalty on Iran. Gulf states have lost $15 billion in energy revenues since the start of the war, which is almost as much as the United States has lost in costs of this war. They've lost those revenues, and this is as millions of barrels of oil have become stranded and more being shut in by the day. The largest exporter, Saudi Arabia, has been the most affected, with an estimated $4.5 billion in lost revenue since the conflict's start. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Saudi Arabia can just pump that oil across the desert in their pipeline, and they are pumping some of it across the pipeline. But they can't get nearly as much as they pump out of the ground pumped across the pipeline. So they're getting a small portion of their oil exported still through the Red Sea ports now. But the problem is we are waiting to see if the Houthis decide to start closing their Bab al-Mandab Strait. That could cause things to get even more squirrely. And in other interesting news, protesters in Cuba have stormed the local Communist Party office and burned it. Apparently, people are getting upset with the government of Cuba. We also have reports from the Cuban government that they have entered into negotiations with the Trump administration. So we have Cuba potentially looking at making peace with the United States, and if the United States can get Cuba to switch sides and become a U.S. ally as opposed to a U.S. enemy. That could be a very big deal there, too. SDB says Mishawaka, Indiana. High winds, very high winds, Indiana and Michigan. I'm here in Mishawaka, Indiana, and my residence is shaking. We got Joyce. Windstorm hitting in Washington State yesterday as well. Lots of schools are out for the day due to power outages. Now, Washington State is by and large back online power-wise, at least from what I just saw from poweroutage.us, which is a great resource there. We got Northern Nancy says southeastern Wisconsin has a high wind warning from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. Power outages starting already. It's
I am not sure what you mean, but thank you.
Any chance you could hook me up with Agatha Harkness? She's just my type.
The battle starts in 5, 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show. We are here. Spring has sprung. We have the spring background. I believe that is the Tulip Festival in the Netherlands. And a beautiful statement of spring and of hope, of new life. And I'm very hopeful and I'm very positive. And I don't care how bleak it gets. I believe that things are going to get better. I like this new leader. By the way, I'm bullish on this new leader. I'm going to have a little trouble pronouncing his name, but he's because, by the way, I was always saying Ayatollah Khomeini, but it's Khamenei or something. I just realized that. But, oh boy, here we go. Mojtaba Khamenei. I'm bullish on him. And I think we won the war, and I think it's time to leave and give him this country. And a lot of people are saying, well, we're starting off on the wrong foot with him because we killed his father, his wife, and maybe his daughter, right? We kill his daughter as well? Well, maybe he didn't like his wife and his father. Here's the deal. You can't ever know the inner dynamics of any family. So, sure, I'm sure he was startled by the killing of his father, wife, and daughter. But I think on the flip side, this is a new day for him. He gets to be the leader. He can get another wife. He may have had another wife. He may have multiple wives. That's part of that thing they do. Because a lot of people have been saying, rightly so, like, hey, well, we killed this guy's father, wife, daughter, his family, and that's probably going to make him angry and kind of attacking his country and killing his family. He's going to even be more dedicated to getting a nuke because that would have prevented this. So there is that school of thought out there, that he's actually going to be more dedicated to enriching uranium to make a nuclear weapon to prevent another attack by the U.S. and Israel. You might say that, but I think this guy might be good. I don't know why, I just have a feeling. I just have a feeling about him. I have a feeling about him, and I have a feeling about this whole thing. I know that we're sending more warships to the Middle East and Marines. But I still think we've won and we're done. I know the Pentagon's moving additional Marines and warships to the Middle East as Iran steps up its attacks on the Strait of Hormuz, according to 3 U.S. officials. I still think we've won, and I think people should communicate to Donald Trump how much we've won, how glorious this victory has been for all of us, how exciting it's been to see this, how grateful we are for this, and that we should now just go home and think about it as a great, glorious memory of the past. But I mean, the liberals will fuck it up if he goes, I won, we're done. The Democrats will be like, you didn't win anything. You actually lost. And he'll go, you're all right, and then nuke everyone. So whatever this man needs to hear, really, whatever this guy needs to hear, he's at the end of his life. He's endorsing Jake Paul for president. He doesn't care what happens next. That's the thing with Donald Trump. He doesn't really care what happens next. So whatever this guy needs to hear to get him out of this war, tell him. Tell him that. Whatever this dude needs to hear so that he can get us the fuck out of there, because this is, and listen, obviously we all support the U.S. military. That's why we don't want them dying for literally no reason in Iran, unfortunately. Now, I know people will attack me for saying that. They will say, well, you're dishonoring their sacrifice. What I'm saying is that if we get a crazier leader than the one we had before, I don't get it. But Trump is just kind of on a farewell tour. And take a look here. He's endorsing Jake Paul for political office. And you really have to think to yourself, we do deserve everything we get as a country. You know, like we really do deserve it. There's certain things that people get in their lives they don't deserve. You know, somebody gets sick or whatever. You get in a bad car accident. But, you know, this country deserves everything we get. Everything we get, we really deserve. I don't know how much of it anymore can be blamed on outside forces, you know, or even these billionaires that are, we know, evil and bad, a lot of them.
I'm just happy to see
But
you.
the common person here also is unfortunately really sadly culpable in a lot of this. You know, the people that are cheering on this war in Iran have no fucking clue why we're there. They don't care. They're happy to just see violence. You know, they're happy to see things blow up. They're at a bar in Florida. They're excited about the Ayatollah getting whacked. They don't know why. They don't know what Iran did to them. They're just happy to see violence and chaos. And those are the people who are culpable for what this country is going to get. Make no mistake, we're going to get it. What this country is getting, those are the people who deserve it. Those are the people who deserve it. When the gas spikes and we're no longer in the Middle East because we were thrown out of the Middle East because Iran attacked all of our bases, we didn't defend them, and a lot of these Gulf states don't want much to do with us. When all of that happens, and when Israel's the regional power there, and becoming a global power, again, this is out of Netanyahu's mouth. When all of that happens, the people that cheered this on from their backyard in Long Island without a goddamn thought as to why we were doing it, it just felt good to them. It was a way to own the libs by sending troops into a Middle Eastern country. These people are all hopped up on pharmaceuticals and French vanilla coffee creamer, and they have a bloodlust that is insatiable. The suburban American has a bloodlust that is absolutely insatiable. Nothing is enough for these people. Nothing is enough. We're becoming a sexless country. We're a joyless country. Our only joy is in exporting violence and sitting back and watching it. It is the only thing that unites people and gets them excited. They all have a bloodlust, and they want things to blow up, and they want people to get hurt, and they don't care that we bombed a school of Iranian children. They don't care that a Tomahawk missile ripped through a school and killed 165 people, many of them between the ages of 8 and 10 years old. They don't care because many parts of this country are a moral black hole. They are a moral black hole where there is no morality. They're amoral. You say, well, maybe they have bad morals. No, no, no. They have no morals. They're a black hole. Those are the people that are cheering on what's happening right now in Iran. They cheered on what happened in Iraq. Okay, 20 years after that, everyone in this country has less money on average. People do not own homes. People still don't have health care. People are in no better position financially than they were, except the top tier. And those are the same people that cheered that on. They're cheering this on. And here's the president now endorsing who I believe and I called this years ago. I said, Logan Paul, but it'll be Jake. But I imagine that is what will come next. That is the inevitable next move here is this.
Got us. Trump's got us. God bless. Love you, Kentucky.
No, he's a great guy. He's a courageous guy and a talented guy. He's a hell of a fighter, too, by the way. And I just want to say, I'm going to make a prediction.
Look at the people. Can you just pause this for a minute and look at the people that are still in this crowd? Look at the people. And I feel bad for some of them, but I really don't for others. Look at the people that are left in this crowd. I mean, none of them look happy anymore, by the way. This is the end, because they're all broke, by the way. Their standard of living hasn't gone up. It's declined. None of them understand what the hell's going on. They just know that they're in too deep. They're just in too deep to get out. And that's the face of people that are in too deep. That's not the face of people that are having a great time. That's not the face of people that are really excited about the direction of the country. This is the face of people that kind of got bamboozled, and they're still showing up to the rally, and then he's bringing out Jake Paul. And they're going, what's going on? Let's listen to a little bit of this here.
Prediction that you will be, in the not-too-distant future, running for political office. And you have my complete and total endorsement, okay?
So they clap. The people in Kentucky clap in a very defeated way when Trump says about Jake Paul, he goes, you're going to be running for political office. And then some of the people in Kentucky start clapping, and they're happy about that. Let me ask you a question. I like Jake Paul. I have no problem with Jake Paul. Actually, I enjoy him. Why would the people in Kentucky who are clapping for this think Jake Paul would make a good political figure? I'm just asking a very simple question that I'm unsure if I know the answer to. Why do the people in Kentucky think Jake Paul, who, by the way, has left America? Jake Paul, I mean, he lives in Puerto Rico. He's left the continental United States. He lives in a territory of the U.S. to pay no taxes, which, again, God bless. But the people in Kentucky, it's so puzzling me when Trump goes, I want to hear that again. Bring it back again that you're gonna run for political office.
I just want to say, I'm going to make a prediction that you will be, in the not-too-distant future, running for political office. Okay? And you have my complete and total endorsement, okay? Yeah, that's what we want. He's an incredible guy.
It's a mixed reaction. You know, there are people that are clapping for it, and I question their sanity. Again, I don't know why they think he would be a good political figure. I don't know. But this is very interesting because the people behind him now, a lot of them are really not, it's not exciting anymore. It's not fun. This is, you've been at a party too long. You know, I have friends that have been at the party too long here with him. And the thing about Trump's entire thing is the party's never about you. It's his party. And you know, when you first get there, it's fun. It's like hanging out with a rich kid, where in the beginning it's really fun because they're excited to show you everything and let you use some of their toys. But then eventually the rich kid's like, well, this is all mine. So when are your parents picking you up? Like, you know, that's where we're at now in the MAGA cult movement. You still have the 5D Chaz QAnon people who are permanently schizophrenic. There's nothing to be done for them. You have people like I know, friends of mine who like live in Florida and are just completely out of it and truly are kind of moral. Again, a black hole. You know, they just don't care what he does. They just like him and they're not paying attention. They're not paying close attention. And, you know, and then you have, you know, some of these people that are standing here behind him, you can really tell by their face that they've been at the party for too long and it's not fun. You know, a lot of these people go back and work at a rest stop after this. And I'm not saying anything negative about people that work at a rest stop, but make no mistake, a lot of them will go back and work at a rest stop in Kentucky. It's not a fun job per se, right? So they're here to celebrate him and Jake Paul and all these people. And then they will leave this rally and they will go to their house and they will change into their work clothes and they will work the graveyard shift at a rest stop. And they will tell their friend at the rest stop that they saw Trump. They went to the rally. And their friend will be like, yeah, what'd he say? And they'll be like, yeah, he's not that funny anymore. Like, Jake Paul was there. You know, this is what it's becoming. You know, it's becoming people that are just, I don't know. I don't know what any of them are getting out of it. I don't know what any of these people are getting out of it anymore. They elected this guy, and then this guy is basically letting Jared Kushner and Bibi Netanyahu just carve out the Middle East, do whatever the hell they want, just make deals, and it's tough because I know it's really, really hard to admit you got God.
As queen of the 10th realm.
It's really difficult to admit that. Almost no one can admit. It's very hard to admit you've been taken advantage of by someone that you respected, by someone that you liked and respected. This is actually a very difficult thing to do. It's easy to say you got scammed by some stranger, but someone that you trusted, respected, liked, and a lot of these people here, you know, in the back of their head, they can't admit it to themselves yet, but they feel like they've been taken advantage of. This is not about them anymore. It's dawned on them. They go, this is not really about us. This is about a lot of other things, but it's not about us. It's not about us. Now, I want you to get up in the bunkers in Israel, the dancing. I want you to compare a group of people who aren't getting what they want with a group of people who are getting what they want. And the difference between the way that they react to it. In Israel, obviously, there is a war between the United States, Iran, and Israel. Most people know this. And Israel's dealt with terrorism for a long time. They've been at war with all of their neighbors forever. So they have bomb shelters. Underground bomb shelters, bunkers that
they got 3 tanks, but we need to get somebody in the air.
Like raves in them. They're having like parties. They're enjoying themselves. And many people say, hey, that's in bad taste. American servicemen are dying. By the way, people in the IDF are dying. Their own brothers and sisters are dying. Americans are dying. Iranians, children are dying. And that being in a bomb shelter, you shouldn't have a dance party in the bomb shelter. That's what some people would say. But I just want to show you, this is when people get what they want.
In the streets.
This is how they act, because this is the war that Israel wanted. They wanted Iran gone. And so whereas you have the people in Kentucky that are kind of, you know, just standing there in the back, and Trump's like, Jake Paul, he's going to run. And then they're just like, I guess that's we have to support that. And the joy is draining from their face in Kentucky because it's not about them, and they know that. But let's go to somewhere else and let's see if they're having a good time here. So now this is the vibe when things are good. You see the difference? When things are good, yeah. When things are good, you have a rave and a missile silo. That's when things are good. Because let's give credit where credit is due. Israel's got us into this pretty much. Again, that's from our own Secretary of State. And they're getting what they want. They're getting what they want. So why not throw a party? Nobody's throwing a rave in Kentucky. Nobody's throwing a party standing there behind Donald Trump and Jake Paul. Nobody's doing that because they're not getting anything out of it. They're not getting a goddamn thing out of it. So many people I know are using Nutrafol, and they are loving it. It's a hair growth supplement, and it's tailored to men at every age because the root cause of hair thinning changes over time, and your routine should too. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. You can feel great about what you put in your body. Nutrafol hair growth supplements are backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF content certified, the gold standard and third-party certification for supplements. Nutrafol Men for ages 18 to 49 to help improve hair growth and achieve thicker, fuller hair in 3 to 6 months. And new Nutrafol Men 50 Plus, the first and only hair growth product specifically formulated for men 50 plus. Start Nutrafol today and make the hat optional. Visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code TIM for $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping. Find out why Nutrafol is the best hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com. Spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code TIM. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code TIM. Everyone that visits me says, what are these guest room mattresses? I go, they're Helix. And they go, this is the nicest mattress I've ever slept on all my life. And I go, yeah. I go, a study found that 82% of those involved saw an increase in their sleep cycle, deep sleep cycle, while sleeping on a Helix mattress. Helix is the most awarded mattress brand, tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes and Wired. Free shipping and seamless delivery. Helix delivers your mattress right to your door with free shipping in the U.S. Rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. A Happy with Helix guarantee offers risk-free, customer-first experience designed to ensure you're completely satisfied with your new mattress. 120-night sleep trial, limited lifetime warranty. Take the Helix sleep quiz. Find out which mattress is right for you. Go to helixsleep.com/TimD. helixsleep.com/TimD, 27% off. Wait, what is the thing? 20%. helixsleep.com/TimD for 20% off site-wide. That's 20% off site-wide, folks. You're going to love it. Now, the lying that you have to do to tell people in this country that they are getting something out of this war, the hurdles you have to jump through are some of the craziest things that I have ever seen in my life. When I watch people, I totally understand why Israel wants it, why Netanyahu wants it. I totally understand that. I get why Jared Kushner wants it. I get why people in the United States, like Ted Cruz, want it. But the people in Kentucky, I mean, that are going to the Trump rally, the people in Kentucky who are going to the Trump rally, like these people right here, to sell to these people that they're getting something out of this. It is the only that religious angle of like the third temple and the rapture and all that stuff, the Christian Zionism. You have to go to these people and go, well, don't you want the Messiah to come back? You don't have to go to the rest stop. If the Messiah comes back, you don't have to go to work. So this is that. This is what we're doing. Oh, I thought we were like I thought our taxes, I thought like the cost of groceries is gonna go down. No, we're ending the world. We realized we couldn't do any of that. Let's be honest. You think your groceries are coming down. The price of a house is never coming down. We're ending the world. I mean, it's pretty simple. There's zero way you're ever going to afford a house. Let's rapture you all. Let's rapture you all. It is the only shot you have at a good life right now is to hasten the rapture. That is, right now, the foreign and economic policy of our country currently right now is the rapture. That is the foreign and economic policy of our country is the rapture. You're out of here. We're all going. The Messiah is coming back, and he's going to figure it out because we don't know how to get these houses cheaper. We don't know. We do not know. We do not know. When the Messiah gets here, he'll figure it out, and he'll rapture some of you, and some of you won't get raptured. We don't know. It depends on what book, what interpretation. But what we do know is if we don't have the rapture, Jake Paul's going to be president. So what do you want? You want the rapture, or you want Jake Paul to be the president? I don't... Or does Jake Paul bring on the rapture? That's another great question. Does Jake Paul bring on the rapture? Here's Pete Hegseth, who is a drunk and a failure, making a big mess of this war, killing children in Iran, a truly contemptible figure who should resign, war criminal Pete Hegseth, friend of the show. But he really should resign. They are massacring children in Iran. It is disgusting. But Pete Hegseth is a U.S. troops were told Iran wars for Armageddon and the return of Jesus. So this is what we've got. We've got some real fun people here that are trying to egg on World War III. I fully believe this is the plan. I think they want World War III. I believe they want World War III. I think the Epstein documents, it started to expose things that could not see the light of day. I think this economy is in much deeper trouble than people think. And I think that this is the plan. The plan is like we need some kind of prolonged conflict to sink a bunch of people, money, and sadly lives and things like that.
And sometimes.
Let's take a break from this for a minute because I do want to cover these Dubai influencers' life of luxury interrupted by Iran strikes. You know, Dubai, which we've talked about on this show as, it's the fun kind of, tax haven for international criminals. A lot of people from the UK and America and all over Europe have gone to Dubai, have fled to Dubai over the past few years. Now all of those people are experiencing trauma because a lot of the luxury hotels that they are living in are blowing up. So imagine going to Dubai to just not pay taxes, to just be rich, to just kind of divorce yourself from any commitment to your fellow man, to your nation state, going to Vegas, and I have no problem with Dubai, but going to a Vegas-like paradise designed for you, kind of a morally questionable rich person that just wants to live out the rest of your days in a tranquil tax haven, and then a war breaks out. Take a look here. These are the Dubai influencers dealing with this.
I'm actually so scared. I'm in JDC right now, and I can see... Oh, no. Not meant to be happening here. Can everyone just chill out? The biggest concern is that people, I don't want anyone getting hurt, you know what I mean? I've been hearing loud explosions sort of like in the background all day.
Now, stop that for a minute. When she's like, it's not meant to be happening here. Because she's like, this is not that Middle East. This is not that Middle East. This is the Middle East with the Eggs Benedict. This isn't that Middle East. This is the Eggs Benedict Middle East. And she is standing on her balcony watching missiles. And they say that Dubai is finished now. I don't know if that's true, but they say that a lot of these expats are never going to go back, that they've been so traumatized they're unable to handle it. But they feel vulnerable now. They don't feel safe in this tax haven of international criminals. That's the thing. The thing about Dubai, it was a safe place for international criminals. And when that veil of safety is pierced, it's very hard to get it back. Why should international criminals have to deal with any type of insecurity? They have families, international criminals. They absolutely have families. So if you go live in Dubai to launder money, to shield yourself from the laws of your home country, to escape warrants, whatever, you go in there to have a good life. You want to have a good life with your family, who you left your home country because you were wanted. And you went to Dubai to live in a place that allowed you to operate a business, in a questionable way, and just chill. Like she said, why doesn't everybody just chill out? And now you're sitting there and there are missiles coming in. There are missiles coming in. And all of the narco traffickers, human traffickers, Bitcoin scammers, hustlers, all of these people, all of the legacy institutional money, all of the stuff that is escaped and went to Dubai is now having to face this crisis where their luxurious life of crime is being upended. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
Oh, like the sound, it shakes the windows. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the weirdest sound ever. And now I'm seeing this is not fun, guys. We're supposed to be in the safest place. Like,
right. I mean, this is just like
I love the UAE. I love being here. I feel so safe all the time, and now I can see it. Like, please, just stop.
Yeah, I mean, they're unhappy. They're unhappy, and there's nothing to be done about it. And this is going to. Oh no, what's happening to her? What's this? Oh dear.
It's 8:20. Oh, there's another bomb that's gone off.
Oh my God!
Everybody can see, but there's black smoke over here. All this here. But as you can see, I've literally just woke up. I'm in JVC. And yeah, another one's just gone on.
By the way, stop me for a minute. How much longer should society go on for? You know what I mean? Like, whenever I get upset about like what's inevitably coming, how much longer should this woman has so many injections in her face. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, she's sitting in a hotel made by slaves who get literally whipped. And she's just watching. She's like, oh, there's a fire. Oh, there's a fire. Oh, darling. How much longer can this civilization go? I mean, it's unbelievable. It's completely crazy. By the way, half of Dubai is just like people paying money to literally like shit on women. Like a lot of this, and then having women shit on them. There's a lot of that in Dubai. There's a lot of that going on where women are not treated. Some of them are treated good, obviously, but there's an underbelly there. There's an underbelly everywhere. But this idea that, and I feel bad for the people there, but there's something oddly, not satisfying. I don't want to use that word because obviously I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but there's something interesting about the type of violence that this whole system is built on coming and visiting them. The type of violence that the entire system is built on is now somehow coming back and visiting these people. And they're shocked. They're shocked. They're completely, like beside themselves that the type of violence that we've been watching on screens for a very long time is actually now in
Sure,
their
do you think you are,
physical
DJ?
reality. And they're like, what?
The hand of
There's
heaven
a
is
bomb
here.
over
Show
there.
some respect.
There's a missile over there, darling. Darling, there's a missile over there, darling.
Pitch for this match.
Let's watch a little bit more of her.
Like, I just want to get home now. I don't know where it's been hit and stuff like that because
Bro.
people are saying loads of different things. So,
Yeah, well, we wish them well. We really do. We wish them well. I mean, I hope the influencers in Dubai find their way back to wherever they're going to go. Ethos, it's so important. Making life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You can just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Here we go. CBS News, and we know, and this is why we play CBS on the show. We know we're getting the facts.
Well, New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani and the city's police commissioner will hold a press conference this morning about the incident over the weekend where improvised explosive devices were thrown during rival protests outside the city's official mayoral residence. Mamdani, the city's first Muslim mayor, denounced the violence and bigotry. Jerika Duncan joins us now with more from outside Gracie Mansion in New York. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. That scuffle happening right out in front behind me, or right here, I should say, in this area near 88th Street in New York City. And it did not last long. Officials, though, now investigating possibly federal charges on the way. Protesters and counter-protesters of an anti-Islam rally clashed on New York City streets outside Gracie Mansion Saturday. Police allege 18-year-old Amir Balat threw an improvised explosive device into the crowd. You can then see him grab what may be a second device from 19-year-old Ibrahim Kayumi. Balat appears to try and light it before police chased him down the street, tackled Balat, and handcuffed him. Neither device exploded.
Well, Mamdani, and listen, and this is where I think Mamdani actually did a job. You know, he appointed him in his administration. And I think that's the only way to solve this. No, I do. No, I do. And I think it's nice that Mamdani basically was like, this is a troubled man, and really what he needs to be doing is working for the city and not against it. So Mamdani, those two guys who were throwing explosives, Mamdani they're now working for the mayor, Zoran Mamdani, at City Hall with his wife. And we'll see what's going to happen with all of this. You know, there's too many kids, there's too many people in this country right now who are like sloppy terrorists, like ineffective you know what I mean? Like embarrassing terrorists. Like we have too many like incompetent goons that they're like barely terrorists. They're all like theater kids. Everyone's weirdly become a theater kid that can't do anything. Now, I'm not saying terrorism is good, and I'm not saying that we should be encouraging it at all. I abhor terrorism and all violence. But, I mean, it is kind of like, I mean, could these guys even get on the plane in September? Like, would they even be able to get on the plane? Like, it's just, they're so wildly, look at this goon. He doesn't, look at him. You don't know the cops are that way? You didn't know they were coming that way? Look at this. Look how stupid that, look at this. This is crazy. This is insane. These are incompetent, idiot terrorists. And I'm not saying that they should become better at terrorism, but there's something embarrassing about watching people become terrorists that are so buffoonish that I'm just embarrassed on so many levels. I'm embarrassed they're terrorists, and then I'm embarrassed that they can't even do anything. I'm so embarrassed on so many levels for our country at all times. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do anymore. And these synagogue shootings are horrible. And anyone who's trying to show up to a synagogue or listen, all of this stuff is incredibly negative and evil and any type of identity politics has always been my least favorite thing because it robs people of the only thing that makes them interesting, which is their humanity and their personal story, like what somebody overcame in their life or where somebody's from or what their passions are, what their interests are, whatever. All of that to me has always mattered a lot more than people's identity, their race, religion, sexuality, none of that, age, whatever. Identity politics to me is the full breakdown of civil society. It's tribalism, it's sectarian conflict, it's people throwing grenades at each other in the street, it's people attacking each other's places of worship. It's the degeneration of civil society. It's the opposite of civil society. Civil society is different groups of people that literally create the fabric of a society around shared values, shared ideals. Identity politics is complete the other way. It's tribal warfare. Tribal warfare, and when you see it, the examples of it are always pretty gross. I don't even like them, by the way, when they're not designed to be gross. Meaning when they're like, it's like I'm getting an award. The gay and lesbian, whatever, gives an award to someone. I go, great, whatever, okay. I'm not angry at that. But again, I look at all of that stuff and I say to myself, at a certain point, do we ever get away from this rabid desire to self-segregate into these groups and we play this domination game of who can dominate who? To me, that's never been interesting to me. If you're an intelligent person, I don't think it's interesting to you. I think if you're, and I think a lot of the people where it's super interesting to them, they're using it as leverage to get something, and they want to, whatever the case may be, whether they're far to the left, far to the right, whatever identity politics that has completely taken over, I think a lot of people see that as a necessary path to power. I think they see it as a path to power. I think that's what identity politics is. At its core, is a path for some people to attain power by building a power base of people that are, aligned on these, immutable characteristics, whatever. I'm a man, I'm white, I'm Jewish, I'm Muslim, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm black, I'm a woman, whatever. And all of that to me is not ideal. So when you look at all this stuff, and that's why probably the only way to fight this is to have a world war where we eliminate half the population. And I thought about it, and I think, unfortunately, what I've come to is that in order to kind of reverse the tide and get people to remember what is important, we have to have a world war where we eliminate 3.5 billion people?
Together.
I don't think that there's another way to do it. When I look at the rise of identity politics and how troubling that is, the only course of action that I could think of would be a world war that would eliminate half the population in a period of 24 months. How many people live on Earth? 7.5 billion? That needs to be whacked in half. Population data of Earth. 8.3 billion people. 4 billion of those people need to die in the next 24 months. And I don't say this lightly, and I don't say this to try to be a negative a Debbie Downer, whatever. I'm saying quite accurately, and I think this has been decided, I don't think I'm breaking news, 4 billion people will have to be killed over the next 24 months so that we can finally start to get back to what matters here. And I think that's the only way to do it. I thought about it in different ways. I thought about, like, you know, it's like, well, we could make turkey more affordable. What are we doing, you know? Eliminate half the population in a global war. A global war. I mean, a James Cameron Avatar-style war where 4 billion people are vaporized. We're going to use nukes. We're going to use nuclear weapons and hypersonic missiles and hydrogen bombs. And large swaths of the planet are going to be uninhabitable for a period of time. But not all of them. Not all of them. In fact, lots of the planet will be just fine. And there's a lot of underground bases that people have been kind of getting ready for this type of event. This is the type of reset we need. Again, I don't want people to get mad at me for this, because every time I say this, when you go to dinner with people and they say, what do you think happens? And I go, I think, quite honestly, we have to eliminate half the world's population in the next 24 months. You would not believe the attitude that you get.
Judge,
truly, the judgment. And I don't want any of that. I'm simply telling you that with 8.3 billion people all doing their own thing, that's kind of run out. But we can't kill everyone, so we need to eliminate half. And listen, am I open to more than half? Yes. Yes. 8.3 billion people. If we could get rid of, hear me out, 4 to 6 billion people in the next 24 months, and we were left with 2 billion people in a mix of underground and overground, kind of like solariums and kind of nice areas, and we restarted agriculture and technology and all this stuff. We're not going to lose all of that either. We have it. But we just, you know, raw materials-wise, just really kind of eliminated many of the people on the globe, 4 to 6 billion people. And how would we do it? A nuclear war with China immediately. Not immediately, but within a month. And we do a nuclear war with China. Europe will be destroyed, we'll be destroyed, they'll be destroyed. It would destroy most of life on Earth. You know, and that would just, again, this would be a kind of nice reset. And listen, 5 years from now, the people that are left, and it's not going to be all of us, the people, it might not be me, but the people that are left are going to really appreciate, because no one, at that point, when literally half to 3/4 of the world's population was just vaporized, incinerated, died horrible deaths. I mean, people walking around, glowing green, nuclear, you know what I mean? Bad. Once that happens, on the other side of this, people are really going to come together. And they're going to realize that, there's enough resources for everyone. Then, not now, then they will realize there's enough for all of us. There's enough for all that. And it's going to be amazing. But we just have to get on with that. And I know that's going to be a period of hardship for a lot of people. And my heart goes out to most of them. And it will require the near destruction of all life on Earth.
Only 60 seconds left.
But there's no other way to do it. What else would you do? I don't understand. Like, you could, I guess, prosecute those people that were having sex with kids. But that seems so complicated. They all have lawyers. Just destroy all life on Earth. I don't know it. The housing market's so artificially manipulated.
A nice deep freeze.
Making homes affordable again, it's really not that easy. And then the boomers are going to get mad because they're going to go, oh, my money's in my house. Why are you stealing my money? So you want them mad at you? Just destroy 6 billion people. If you do that, on the flip side, people are going to be a lot happier.
Put on a show.
I don't know what else you could do. You could honor international law and different bodies and try to come up with diplomatic solutions.
1, 2,
I mean, I
3.
guess you could theoretically use technology as a way to bridge the gap between people and educate them. Or, very simply, we could destroy all life on Earth. And I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan. I don't understand the other plan. I think it's very simple to just basically make a decision. Make a decision and stick with it. You know? Make a decision and stick with it. Just do it and stop talking about it. And then on the other side of that, everyone left on this planet is going to be happier, wealthier, smarter, more interesting. Do you realize how much more interesting people are going to be when they've lived through what we're about to unleash? Oh my God. And people you know are going to go, and you might go. But think of what's coming, because what's coming is such a beautiful rejuvenation. It's, no, I mean, literally think of it. And if you think they're not having these discussions, you're mentally ill. If you think people aren't saying what I am saying right now, you're crazy. Because it's gotten away from them. Do you see? It's gotten away from them. And they go, it's only going to get, where AI is going to put everyone out of work. So then what do? Just a war. Just a global conflict where and then people fall in a line after that. Nobody starts chirping. People stop chirping about their rights after a global war. It really reframes what people care about after a global war. After everyone gets their shit rocked, people tend not to scream and yell about what they can post on the internet. They really forget about all that stuff. They really do. They just go, well, I'm alive. I'm happy. I'll do what you say. Let me do what you say. They become docile and compliant, as they should. You know, most people they know have been, I mean, people are going to be eating each other. I mean, literally, it's going to be that bad. They're going to be eating each other. You're going to see people you know eating other people you know. And after that process, you're not going to complain. You're not going to, after that, you're not going to go, I want to own a house. What? What? Shut up. If you make it through this process, if you're somehow one of the lucky or chosen people to emerge into the AI control grid after there's been a massive global conflict, you're not going to complain. Take your little crypto thing you get, take your little lab-grown food, enjoy it, and just live and work at the data center or do whatever. But it's not going to work with 8.3 billion people. And it may not even work with all these nation states. We might have to do something else. We might have to have 3 regions and have those, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's going to work with people like, I'm Poland and we're going to tell you how to, and it's like, no. Bye. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. Their fee is free unless they win. I'm telling you right now, Morgan & Morgan is the best. I love watching people get what they deserve. And if you use the DoorDash app between 2023 and 2025 and you qualify for a claim, you may be entitled to compensation. You can easily check if you qualify by going to forthepeople.com/Tim Dillon. Wait, what is this? I use DoorDash. What do I get? What did they do? I have a lot of problems sometimes with them, but other times I love them. Do they advertise on this? Right. They used to. There are serious allegations coming out that the app may have tracked your precise location and shared it with third-party companies without your consent. Well, if you had my precise location, why is the burrito late? But if you had my you can easily check to see if you qualify by going to forthepeople.com. Sue DoorDash and get that money. Or don't if they advertise. They don't advertise, right?
No.
All right. Then get them. That's forthepeople.com/GIM Dylan. This is a paid advertisement. So I'm super bullish about what's coming after a 24-month period of global death. No, I am. And spring has sprung, and I am. I will not be, no, truly. I'm not going to be one of these people who's a doom and gloomer. I believe that people's values will align after a period of mass death and chaos, which is clearly in the planning stages now. And by the planning stages, I mean being executed in front of your eyes immediately. And after a 24-month period of global death, chaos, you will then appreciate your life. People are going to, there's going to be, there's going to be just 1 year of memorials. Once the big war stops, it'll just be years and years, like 2 years of just memorials of people being like, oh, remember that one. Remember when China came into California? Remember that? Remember when the Chinese jets flew in to California and just started lighting up LA? Remember that? And then and then after that, no one's gonna be like, I got my script. No one's read my script. It aligns you in a different way. And it's going to be, I think it is in the beginning stages of it. I'm excited about it. I think it'll be tough. I'll be honest. I think it'll be tough because it will require a massive depopulation and most of the country will be unlivable. And most of us will die in horrible ways. But on the other side of that, people are they're going to get the program finally. They're going to get the program. They're going to be like, let's stop focusing on like where are the files? Where are the people that raped the kid? It's like, Wyatt, just shut up. You're here. And it's going to be much easier on the other side of that. But we need that. And everyone will look like this. Play this thing, because this is what everyone will look like on the other side of the 24-month mass death.
I live in a luxury condominium in downtown Miami, the Penthouse.
His kid seems so sad.
My name is Clavicular. I'm 20 years old. I believe in looks maxing. The idea of maximizing physical attractiveness by any means necessary in order to ascend. In the morning, if my jaw looks a little weak, I'll bone smash to strengthen it. My ratios are nearly golden now. Testosterone for muscle growth. Disoxin as for appetite suppression. Glutathione for health maxing. Peptides for anti-aging and collagen production. Melanotan 2 for healthy glow. IGF-1, HGH, retatrutide for leanness, dutasteride and minoxidil for hair maintenance.
I got a bench for this match.
When it comes to ascension, if you're not looks maxing, you're not life maxing. And if you're not life maxing, you're nothing. The wait is over. March 13th. Mog World Order begins. 30 days, 24/7 live on Kick. Welcome to the new era.
Yeah, again, I'll say it again, folks. I'll say it again. After watching that, I'm even more actually dedicated to a 24-month period of mass death. And then it's just starting again. And then every time we start again, we'll get to this. That's the funny thing about life. Like every now and then we'll
your
get to a
hero.
guy in Miami just
I'm not
smashing his
judging.
face with a
The
hammer.
hand of
That's
heaven
the
is
end
here.
of civilization.
Show some respect.
That's actually how it ends every time. Every time you get to clavicular. Every time you get to a guy who's like really, really hot but seems really unhappy, and he's in this weird prison he doesn't understand, and like every time life gets to this point, there's just a mass war and a global death. And then the lizards go underground, and then they start it again. And then every time they're like, I wonder if it'll get different. I wonder if it'll be different. And then every time it just still ends. The clavicular, and then a bunch of influencers in Dubai go, darling, there's missiles everywhere. I'm trying to eat breakfast, darling. Where the missiles? And every time it ends with Trump endorsing Jake Paul in Kentucky in front of a bunch of meth heads that just came from a rest stop. Every time it goes here, and then every time when we get to this point, when Trump endorses Jake Paul, that's the real red heifer, by the way. That's the real third temple, is Trump endorsing Jake Paul in Kentucky in front of a bunch of people that are trying to save up money so they can try the big arch, okay? That's the real third temple, is that. Right there. Every time that Trump endorses Jake Paul, we've reached the end of civilization. And then it starts again. And the aliens are shocked. They go, we don't know why it always ends this way. They go, we wish it would go somewhere else. But it doesn't, because it's what the people want. It's what the people want. So, eventually it's like the Begonia movie. Or those aliens like, well, we'll just pull the plug on this planet eventually. But this is kind of a Sumerian mythology thing where it's like it does keep starting over, and then it keeps getting to this point. We feel like we're near the end. I don't know if we are or not, but it certainly feels that way. And it's at this point when people realize, because here's the theme of this whole episode. Most of these people don't want to be alive anymore. They don't even realize it. None of that stuff, and I'm all for people being hot and in shape and whatever, but none of that stuff that kid's doing, none of that is life in any conceivable way. These people that don't have a pot to piss in, watching a billionaire endorse a multimillionaire for president, this is not life, and you can see it on their face. These influencers in Dubai who are sitting there in a slave-built hotel watching missiles rain down on their cabanas, and they're like, oh, I just want to go home. It's not supposed to be happening here. That isn't life. So life always gets to a point where it's not life anymore. That's what we've learned. Life always gets to a point where it's no longer life. And at that point, everyone's just going through the motions, waiting for something to take them out of this, some force greater than them to take them out of it. And that's the point that we've gotten to now, where everyone's walking around and everyone's kind of going, why are we still doing this? Why are we still doing this? And that's when I think a force greater and larger than ourselves tells us, well, you're not going to be doing this for long. Bye-bye.
Donald Trump has walked right into a death trap of his own, making a global economic catastrophe the same way Donald Trump bankrupted his casinos. He's doing it now with the United States economy and the global economy caused by his unlawful and disastrous war against Iran. There was a moment when Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent this past week was doing that interview with Sky News. He was spewing the Trump propaganda and saying there's no cost that I would be worried about when it comes to this war against Iran. Donald Trump should be able to spend as much money as he wants. I will endorse it all. Or you have a Bessent saying, we obviously knew the Strait of Hormuz was going to be blocked by Iran. We prepared for this. We wanted this. When he was spewing all of that propaganda, he got a call from Donald Trump in the middle of his interview with Sky News, and it looked like he saw a ghost. It looked like he literally saw a ghost. I'm going to show you that video in just one moment. Then he goes back to the interview and he can't even speak in sentences because behind the scenes, things are going down that are deeply, deeply worrisome. And Bessent knows it. He knows what he and Donald Trump have just unleashed, this economic death spiral, the same way Donald Trump has bankrupted casino after casino. Just look at what Bank of America is saying right now, right? A fairly conservative financial institution that doesn't usually release hyperbolic headlines, okay? Here's what they said on Friday. The markets are starting to look like the run-up to the global financial crisis. Now, what about the S&P? What are they putting out? Donald Trump's war in the Middle East could have long-standing effects on the U.S. economy and credit conditions. Now, let me show you when Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent got a phone call from Donald Trump during his interview with Sky News. He left in the middle of the interview. Let me show you what went down. Let's play this clip.
I listened to you on the...
Sorry, the president wants you.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem at all. See you shortly, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, I have to say, it's a first, I'm sure a last as well, that an interviewee has been pulled away to go to the Situation Room. How was the president? Was he stressed?
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule. And you know, I have to tell you, Wolf, that I have a teenager who's considering military service. And I could give this team my highest compliment, from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
Now, before he got that call, I just want to show you some other stuff that he was saying during that interview, where he was like, it was always part of our planning. This is what he's been telling people. It was always part of our planning that the United States would have to deal with the Strait of Hormuz being closed. That's just what we knew was going to happen. We always thought we need this international coalition to escort the tankers. Okay, well, then why would you tariff the entire world and turn all your allies against you? That makes no sense at all. Here, play this clip.
You're starting to think, if this does keep persisting as it is, that the Navy has to go into the Strait of Hormuz to help ships get through, which would have a big effect on...
Look, that was always in our planning, that there's a chance that U.S. Navy or perhaps an international coalition will be escorting oil tankers through. There are, in fact, tankers coming through now, Iranian tankers, I believe some Chinese flag tankers have come through. So we know that they have not mined the straits.
And was that what you were just discussing in the Situation Room?
We were discussing a plethora of things.
And is it your belief that the volume of ships going through the Strait of Hormuz will be improving immediately from now?
It is my belief that as soon as it is militarily possible, the U.S. Navy, perhaps with an international coalition, will be escorting vessels through.
Now, remember a few weeks back what he was saying, how 2025 was about setting the table. 2026 is going to be the banquet for the American people. Is this your banquet, Scott Bessent? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, this is your banquet? Here, play this clip.
I think, as I've said many times, 2025 is about setting the table. 2026 is going to be a banquet for the American people. The economy is taking off. We saw 40,000 new construction jobs. Everyone says to me, oh, where are these factory jobs that you planned? And unlike what you and I see in the financial markets, you can't push a button and build a factory. There's lead time, but what we're seeing is big commitments to these factories that are going to be built. First, we'll get the construction jobs, and then the factory jobs are going to come. So I think we're going to see the tremendous groundbreakings. I think we're going to see a lot of factory completions this year.
Now, one of the articles that I think really resonates right now is this one right here from T.S. Lombard, Global Watch, and it says, it takes two to taco. So the ball is now in the U.S. court. Iran is still shipping its oil and has no incentive to negotiate while those revenues flow. So really, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, you prepared for this because China is able to use the Strait of Hormuz. You have Iran using the strait. They're getting their oil out. So Donald Trump bombs the Karg Island and thinks that that's going to make a difference. But guess what? Donald Trump may have been able to taco in the past. Donald Trump always chickens out when it would come to his tariffs against the world, and he would make this social media post and that social media post. But right now, Iran sees Donald Trump as weak. China and Russia see Donald Trump as utterly weak and pathetic, and they view this as an opportunity to restructure the global world order, to have the United States in a much, much weaker position. I mean, you've got Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, two of the dumbest people serving as the main envoys to the United States, who botched the negotiations with Iran. They're out there like partying with the Russians in Miami as we're now removing sanctions on Russian oil and allowing Russia to make billions of dollars while they provide Iran with resources and intelligence and capabilities to strike American troops and American interests in the Middle East. What the heck is going on there? You know, then you have people like this guy, Jameson Greer, the trade representative. I mean, this is a idiocracy all for us to see. I mean, take a look as Jameson Greer was asked on CNBC about returning the tariff money that they stole from the people in their trade war against the world, which turned all of our allies basically against us because we started a trade war with everybody all at once, and the Trump regime stole our money and the Supreme Court ruled against them. So, Jameson, can you please return our damn money because you stole it? And the way he describes it as, well, if we get our money back, that would be a windfall to the... What do you mean be a windfall? You stole our money, you frauds. Just a bunch of frauds right there. Here, play this clip.
Ambassador, would you and the administration encourage companies that had higher costs during this period to seek refunds, that paid tariffs to seek refunds? And I ask because I've talked to a number of CEOs who have thus far been holding off seeking those refunds, worried potentially about the possibility for retribution for seeking such a thing.
Well, if I were these companies and somehow they get this windfall, the most important thing and the smartest thing they should do is give it as bonuses to their workers. The whole reason the president imposed these tariffs was to try to reshore, to fix our massive imbalance in trade that we've experienced over many years because of China, Vietnam, the EU, and others. If the companies are going to get this windfall, they should pass it along to their workers as a bonus or a raise, because that's the purpose of the program. It's always been the purpose of the program, and the American people should get it, and the companies should give it to their workers.
And then just more lying from Jameson Greer on the Iran war. Oh, I think it's all going to be resolved in a few weeks. It'll all be done in a few weeks. Here, play this clip.
What is your expectation for how quickly this war in Iran is going to end? And if it doesn't, what do you think the global impact is going to be?
Well, I think that we're talking in terms of weeks, right? When I speak with Secretary Hegseth or with the president or others, they're much closer to it. But obviously, you can't talk about trade without the Iran war coming up and the effect of oil and gas and what that means. I think we're talking about a matter of weeks. our expectation is that any effects we see will be short-lived. But we want to watch this, right? You could see other effects that affect cycles that we tend to see in commodity markets. So we're watching it very closely, especially in if there are particular spikes or if there are areas where we think we have more resilience.
Now, apparently, what their plan is just bankrupt everything and then bail out everything, right? You had Brooke Rollins, the agriculture secretary, now saying because our farmers are additionally suffering because the fertilizer prices are through the roof right now, if they're even able to access fertilizer, because a lot of the fertilizer comes from the Middle East. She goes, we'll maybe do another bailout for the farmers. So when you did the tariffs against the world and China refused to buy American soybeans, you had to do a bailout there. The input costs for farmers basically made it, everything that the farmers were doing was a net loss right away. So you had to bail them out there. Now you screw them over by starting this war against Iran, and now one of the impacts is that fertilizer is not coming in, or if it is, it's so expensive. And so another bailout, everybody, another bailout, while they give $40 billion to Argentina, while Donald Trump's rushing to do a state visit to China. I mean, what the hell is going on here? Here, play this clip.
Yes, we'll take questions. To start, are you considering another bailout for farmers who are concerned about the rising price of fertilizer given the war in Iran?
Yeah, so I appreciate that question. With what's happening in Iran, what that means for specifically nitrogen, urea, which is one of the key components of fertilizer. Our farmers are moving into planting season right now, so the president is very aware of these challenges and these issues. We are very close to having an announcement on some solutions on what that looks like. We're looking at every potential avenue to keep the fertilizer costs down as these farmers are going into planting season. No big announcements yet, but it is coming. I have been in conversation with the Hill on that as they're looking at additional funds for our farmers. So at this point, everything is on the table. This president is convicted. He is resolute. He will stand with our farmers. He knows that it's a national security issue, and we're on it. So more to come on that.
And with the horrible fourth quarter GDP numbers, with the horrible economic data that's coming out, you have Ron Johnson and all these MAGA Republicans saying, you know why the fourth quarter was bad? It's the Democrats' fault. It was the Chuck Schumer government shutdown. It's like, to be quiet, Chuck Schumer government, what are you talking about? I'll play this clip.
America, GDP was down in the fourth quarter. Why? Because of Schumer's shutdown. So not only are they not helping us clean up the mess, they're doing everything they can to frustrate our efforts, to interfere with President Trump's efforts to clean up their messes. It's really despicable.
Yeah, great point. You're right. GDP was down from the expectation. It was supposed to be 1.5% growth. We got growth of 0.7%. Senator.
Meanwhile, you have the Labor Department, which is run by an individual who's under investigation for engaging in horrific personal misconduct, whose husband was like banned from the Labor Department building for allegedly sexually harassing people at the Labor Department. You know, they're putting out videos of Donald Trump dancing to the YMCA. And it says that Friday feeling when wages are going up and prices are coming down for American workers, as we put it on the Midas Touch Network. We posted on our social media. Yeah, I guess that's the Friday feeling when you lie. What are you talking about? Wages aren't up. Prices aren't down. Let's be very clear. America engaged in an unlawful war against Iran while we already had a massive affordability crisis here at home where people couldn't afford things. Trump promised he was going to make things more affordable on day one. He made things far worse. People can't afford homes. People can't afford groceries. People aren't able to get jobs. People were suffering here. And Donald Trump was covering up a child sex trafficking ring in the Epstein files. So then Donald Trump starts a war with Benjamin Netanyahu in Iran. Now everything that was horrible already is now a million times worse. I mean, if we weren't talking about the war every day, assuming Donald Trump didn't engage in an unlawful war, we would have been talking about how bad our economy is with Donald Trump's tariffs against the entire world, which after the United States Supreme Court struck down and said that Donald Trump's IEEPA tariffs are unconstitutional or unlawful, a violation, Donald Trump then used another law illegally, just invoked the Trade Act of 1974 to impose more tariffs against the rest of the world, to start launching investigations into all these other countries and to treat them as hostile nations, to screw with the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, to screw with all these international trade agreements, rip them to shreds. And now when we need allies, guess what, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, which international coalition is going to join you? And by the way, you think the Middle East nations are going to be allied with the United States the way they were before, after they see how you have not helped them at all and you thrust them into this war? You think that the Asian nations are going to want to do a lot of business with the United States now, as you're taking away their weapon systems to move it to the Middle East because you were unprepared? You think that that's what's going down? And I'll just show you my friend Justin Wolfers. He describes how the trust and the relationships with the U.S. and the world have been utterly shattered as a result of this war. He goes, even if this war ends quickly, all of the trust has been shattered right now. Here, play this clip.
The president at a press conference, in a press interview today, looked like he was more or less declaring victory. By the way, the president's rhetoric and reality are two very different creatures. But if he were to declare victory, he packs up, goes home. It's a very short war. Your beauty, life can get back somewhat to normal. It'll never get all the way back to normal. The rest of the world will remember what happened. People will have to plan their businesses, understanding that at any given moment, the president could start a new adventure. That adventure could disrupt the world, disrupt international relations, and disrupt their business. So that's the, look, this could be over faster than you think story. Let me tell you the other. It's history. History tells us that almost every time the US has gone into war, it has dramatically underestimated how difficult it is to win and how long it will take. Let me remind you, just in the early days of the Iraq War, Donald Rumsfeld famously said, we might be there 5 days, could be 5 weeks. I doubt it will be 5 months. And it turned out to be much, much longer than 5 years. So when someone says on the one hand it could be measured in days and the reality is in years, that says they underestimated it by a factor of 365. If you want to think about that, just think about when someone in Washington tells you the cost that this war could impose, realize that multiplying that number by 365 remains a possibility.
Now, our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, writes, when asked 8 months ago when they were going to stop blaming Biden for bad economic numbers, Howard Lutnick, who partied on Epstein Island, said repeatedly in interviews that the Trump administration would own them from the fourth quarter of 2025 on. I wonder if that still will be the case, as we've heard that fourth quarter GDP was revised down to 0.7% growth, core inflation rising to 3.1%. And again, that was data before that we're getting now, but that's data from before the war. And finally, Donald Trump, in addition to tariffing the world, we also know that Donald Trump has been attacking the Federal Reserve. Like, if you were to go step by step by step and try to just attack everything to destroy America's strength, like this is a play-by-play book that you would do. What else do you attack? The independence of the Federal Reserve. So Donald Trump's been attacking Jerome Powell, saying lower the interest rates, lower the interest rates. And Donald Trump launched a criminal investigation into Jerome Powell. And then you probably know we reported on this on Friday. Federal Judge Boasberg in Washington, D.C. quashed the subpoena that the Trump regime's DOJ issued against Jerome Powell. And here's what was written in the order when the federal judge basically blocked the criminal investigation into the Federal Reserve. This is what the judge wrote. Federal judge, Jerome Too Late Powell has done it again. He's too late and actually too angry, too stupid, and too political to have the job of Fed chair. He is costing our country trillions of dollars. Put another way, Too Late is a total loser, and our country is paying the price. And that's a citation to a Donald J. Trump social media post. Then the judge says, this is one of at least 100 statements that the president or his deputies have made attacking the chair of the Federal Reserve and pressuring him to lower interest rates. Then he gives another one. So is this too late Jerome Powell costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars? He is truly one of the dumbest and most destructive people in government. Too late is an American disgrace. That's a quote. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Yet the president has been unable to push rates lower through social media posts. He has thus hinted at other options. I want to get him out, Donald Trump says. Several months ago, he mused that if the Fed does not cut rates, I may have to force something. And then the judge goes on to say, perhaps it comes as no surprise then that the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office has recently opened a criminal investigation into Powell. It served 2 subpoenas on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors seeking records about recent renovations to the board's buildings and testimony that Powell delivered to Congress that briefly discussed the renovations. The board has now responded with a motion to quash, contending the subpoenas are merely part of a game plan to pressure Powell to bend to the president's wishes or to get rid of him. The case thus asks, did prosecutors issue those subpoenas for a proper purpose? The court finds that they did not. There is abundant evidence that the subpoena's dominant, if not sole purpose, is to harass and pressure Powell either to yield to the president or to resign and make way for a Fed chair who will. On the other side of the scale, the government has offered no evidence whatsoever that Powell committed any crime other than displeasing the president. The court must thus conclude that the asserted justification for these subpoenas are mere pretext. It will therefore grant the board's motion to quash. It will also grant the board's motion to partially unseal the motion to quash relating, briefing, and this opinion. Now, Donald Trump could just basically walk away and say, you know what, this one's over. Let me appoint a new Fed chair in May, and then we'll just move on from all of this, because Senator Tillis of North Carolina has stated that he will not support Donald Trump's new Fed chair until this case goes away. So Donald Trump could just let this case go away, but that's not what he's going to do. Donald Trump and Jeanine Pirro, the former Fox host, who's now the main federal prosecutor in D.C., they're like, we're going to appeal this. We're taking this all the way. And all this is going to do, the same way after Donald Trump lost the tariff case, he did worse tariffs. Donald Trump did this. He engages in worse conduct. The way Donald Trump's handling the war just makes things worse. It's the exact same way he dealt with COVID, but rewind, it's the exact same way he's dealt with everything in his life, right? He creates these death traps, these death spirals for himself, and he makes a bad decision into a worse decision into a catastrophic decision into a bankruptcy. When you stand up to him after he huffs and he puffs and he bloviates and he's screaming, you know, he's a loser. He is a weak, pathetic loser. That's who he is. You stand up to him, he will always lose. Okay? And when he loses, you know, he's all over the place, but he leaves a trail of destruction. And he just tries to then have self-preservation, but he'll destroy everything around him. That's what we're seeing play out writ large right now. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and we appreciate you so much.
New Midas merch. Head to store.MidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MidasTouch.com.
Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and ladies and gentlemen, I think we've identified, quite honestly, the worst enemy imaginable in the world of online censorship, dead internet theory, yada yada yada. And ladies and gentlemen, that might actually be Facebook, in amongst most of the large big tech companies out there. Now again, this is going to be kind of a deep dive video, so again, sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, because ladies and gentlemen, we've got quite a juicy thing to go down. So basically, a couple days ago, ladies and gentlemen, there was a post on r/Linux. 8 days ago, one individual by the name of Aaron SB decided to copy the actual text from the 5 age verification laws from the various states that we've looked at. And they basically found that apparently it seems Meta and basically a bunch of other companies are finding a way to bypass, data collection laws and basically screw over the system for us entirely. So there's actually a lot of stuff that's been researched here. There's been a lot of AI that's been used by some of these researchers. So I took it upon myself to go down the rabbit hole and sort of analyze this in a human sense and sort of see where this thing is going down. So again, ladies and gentlemen, to give you a quick idea, basically, there's been a lot of laws that have been passing. So in places like California, in places like Colorado, in places like Alabama. Even recently, I've looked at places like SB 372, a bill in Kansas, which if you read this actual Senate bill over here, this bill talks about, again, age ratings. It talks about, mobile operating systems. So things literally like your iPhone, things literally like your Android device. And of course, it also talks about application stores. So for instance, when you go to the App Store on your iPhone, when you go to the Play Store on your Google device. So basically right over here, verified to be established by an individual who the App Store provider has determined through the App Store's provider's age verification to be 18 years of age, married or legally emancipated, and may be affiliated with one or more minor accounts, obviously invoking even the parents in this case too. So they want to basically put the blame on the actual app stores, the actual operating systems right over here, or again, the app stores that are in the OSs. Now, I think this is incredibly overreaching. I don't think that because of Facebook, Roblox, and Netflix, and a lot of these sites' actual fuck-ups, a lot of these social media platforms where children are being harmed, that the focus should be taken away from them and instead be put on a blanket Apple, or Google, and basically have every single one of us kind of screwed in the process, right? Again, I don't use Facebook. I think Facebook is stupid. But if Facebook is fucking working on laws that are affecting you and I, then ultimately I think we need to stand up against those kind of people. So anyways, there's a whole lot of laws being passed. And to go back to it, again, an individual who was researching this entire story traced the money and found that apparently it was something around the tune of $20 to $30 million were spent by Facebook. And again, there's many other companies involved in this. Facebook is not the only person involved. That not only was apparently writing the fucking legislation, but was also pushing it so that basically they can have kind of their cake and eat it too. And I'll get to that in a little bit. So to give you an idea for full context, right, back in 2021, there was a privacy prompt introduced for Apple devices. Now, this is what we call Apple's App Tracking Transparency. So, you ever notice when you download a social media app on your iPhone, the first thing it'll ask is, can we track you or can we not track you? Now, I'm pretty sure most people hit the do not track, and that's something that apparently Facebook didn't like at all. For instance, when they wanted to push advertisements that were more relevant to you, it's important that they can track every single thing on your device. In fact, it was funny that even back then they were like, hey, if we want these services to remain free, we might need to grab your personal information. But here's the interesting thing. When people are told if they want to be tracked or not, Apple basically has proven that people don't want to be tracked. A lot of people don't understand how tracking works. And to give you a quick understanding, it's not like these people flick on microphones or they flick on cameras and they basically hear what you have to say. That's crazy talk. All they have to do is set up trackers all over the internet that basically grab browser fingerprints, which again are easily attuned to an individual person. If, for instance, Facebook or Google, which runs the largest tracking database, if these people detect a browser fingerprint has visited site A, B, and C, then they know exactly where that user is going around on the internet. Without getting your name and last name or whatever, they can identify who you are based on your very unique fingerprint. And ultimately for Facebook, that's also quite important as well too, because a lot of these companies, guess what, make their money through ads. So when Apple introduces shit like app tracking transparency, it makes Facebook crap itself. It makes them lose money. And it makes somebody like me actually happy that at least in some capacity, even if it's a corporation going up against a fucking corporation, we have actually won from a little bit of a privacy boom. So ultimately, at the end of the day, none of these companies actually enjoy this shit. What they've basically found is a way to make the internet just more invasive, and at the benefit of just their financial pockets. So again, going over this sort of Reddit post over here, what the actual bills require you to hand over is a checks edge device setup. So in a lot of ways, this could be, again, you entering in your own age, which a lot of these bills, like at least the one in California, was just telling you, hey, put in your a date of birth, and we'll pass that through a signal, or at least what your age should be. So in some cases, every OS provider must provide an interface and account setup collecting a birth date or age and expose a real-time API that broadcasts a bracket. So I believe this is more in line with the New York-based law, which is SB 102A, where again, you would have a signal that if you were under 18, 13 to 15, 16 to 17, or 18 plus. Now, not to conspiracy theorize here, there's laws like COPA that exist that protect children under the age of 18 from having their information collected by a lot of these tech companies. Now, here's the really interesting conspiracy. Why do these age verification laws in some ways benefit Facebook heavily? Well, here's how it works. For Facebook, they don't want to collect your children's age. They don't want to collect any information on them. But they can collect enough legal information through browser fingerprinting or device fingerprinting that necessarily doesn't get thrown underneath these laws. So if they want to identify a user's age, how do they identify it? Well, it's simple. If Google and Apple have to do the hard work of verifying the age on their systems and pass over any of these signals like under 13, 13 to 15, 16 to 17, or 18 plus, when somebody downloads an application and makes an account, Facebook can then apply whatever they registered or recorded with age ranges to that account. So even if they don't collect your date of birth, they at least know that whoever they identified is from the age of 13 to 15. So on the back end, they can just say after 365 days, that account will go up by one number in their yearly age, obviously. And in a roundabout way, they've kind of identified your age. So if you're 13 to 15 or 16 to 17, these are very important age ranges for people that are doing advertisement, right? Somebody that's 12 years old is going to be advertised different things than somebody that is 17 years old. And because they found a way to identify you through these age ranges, congratulations, the targeted advertisement, well, it suddenly just got more targeted. And a lot of these organizations have basically bypassed what I actually think was a better law than some of these agencies. Like, hey, kids should not have their shit grabbed, okay? They should not have their data grabbed. But it seems like Facebook and a lot of these fucking companies have found a way past it. And in the process have made the internet more annoying and more restrictive and more surveilled for all of us. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg. You know what, man? In a normal fucking world, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, fucking Alex Carr, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, any of these big tech guys would commit fucking Japanese seppuku on international television for the shit that they are doing to our actual human rights and freedoms. And you know, any politician should be underneath them, jailed for life for selling out their actual constituents, okay? It's insanity. So again, let's go a little bit deeper into this, okay? Because again, I wanted to actually really research this beyond just these Reddit threads, right? Because there's a lot of AI done research that you actually have to verify from a human perspective. So for instance, what actually happens over here is that these bills basically create a persistent identity layer in the operating system, which is your age range that can be queried anytime. It's not just once. Anytime an application can just query this API. So basically, a lot of these commercial verification vendors who provide this charge 10 cents to $2 per click, require proprietary SDKs, demand API keys, and operate cloud only. Your age verification goes through a third-party cloud resource every time. So then they also bring something up as EU's IDAS 2.0, which I haven't really looked that much into, but I also believe it's not necessarily a good solution. None of these solutions are actually good. Really,
you talking about me?
Is fucking parent your child. Okay, that's about it. Okay, talk with your kids.
No rest
Don't
from the
let them
eternal
access
struggle.
Facebook. Hell, I had a solution literally a couple of videos ago where I was like, you know, maybe just go at a point of sale, like when you're buying an iPhone at an Apple store. or like a Google Pixel at a Google store or like at a Best Buy and just flash an ID right there and then. I mean, you're spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a device anyways, probably getting a fucking plan to subsidize the device. Just do it right there instead of requiring the internet and every single software that I use to verify me, okay? Don't plant yourself into my fucking operating system, bro. Stay out of my kernel, all right? So that should be on a goddamn shirt. I should make merch of that shit. Anyways, so to give you an idea, basically what they said was apparently Meta had deployed these lobbyists across the entire U.S. for all these bills. And you can confirm these things for yourself too. For instance, if you look up LD2 filings, which are lobbying disclosure filings, you can see that for Meta platforms, specifically, they actually lobby things like the App Store Accountability Act, which ultimately they want to put the blame on Apple and Google. They want to be able to collect your children's data, your data, without actually collecting your data, right, in a roundabout way. Again, these people bring up and work on such emotionally charged laws because ultimately they're trying to put children forefront. We're trying to protect kids. Guys, we care about protecting children. Me making this video gives some douchebag at Meta a reason to say, well, Muta, do you not like protecting children? It's not that I don't care about protecting children. I really do care about protecting children. But these tech companies don't care about protecting your child. They care about protecting their bottom fucking line. And they will burn down the privacy and safety of the world if it means a few extra billions for Mark Zuckerberg. And that shouldn't be fucking tolerated, okay? Simple as that. When it came to laws like these App Store Accountability Acts or Senate Bill 372, basically lawmakers did come up and say that lobbyists from Netflix, Roblox, and Meta had approached them. And also at the same time, even Apple and Google. A lot of these companies have to throw millions upon millions of dollars. I'm not saying that Apple and Google are innocent. They're absolutely not. But neither are Roblox, Netflix, or Meta. It's crazy when you think about it. We don't want to live in a world of corruption, but we basically let lobbyists, and there are good lobbyists and there are bad lobbyists. But a lot of these tech companies, it becomes so readily apparent that when you look even beyond the lines, all they care about is, again, as they probably should, their bottom line. But it should never come at the cost of you and I. And again, there are plenty of cases. Even from 2024, there were lawmaker panels that were set up to back App Store and device age verification for minors. Again, this has been a long fight. But for instance, you can even find out that people like Nicole Lopez, who literally is somebody for the youth safety policy at Meta, appears in front of these politicians and basically talks about app-based age verification. Sorry, I had a little reset there. And she'll say, while Meta has this robust, multi-layered approach to determining one's age, we're only one part of the online ecosystem. The reality is kids are not only getting smartphone at an increasingly younger age, but they hop from app to app to app to app. So their blame is, listen, at the end of the day, there's so many other apps out there. But I have to counter and say, listen, if the majority of the fucked up mental health issues that people are alleging kids are getting from Facebook or any of these like-minded applications, then honestly, we should just put the square focus on these applications and ultimately put them responsible and make sure that they don't collect these data points to begin with, and ultimately don't even let kids join these applications. I'm sure for sites like Facebook, they would cream at the thought of kids finding a way to bypass these age verification laws in some way so that they can still access applications. At the end of the day, they want to pass the buck off and ruin the internet and operating systems in some capacity, many open source projects, through their actions, simply because all they want to do is make that buck. And again, this lobbying shit isn't something entirely new too. Facebook would literally hire companies like Targeted Victory to make actual publication pieces that would sway public opinion against sites like TikTok. Because remember at the time, TikTok, when it came out, absolutely took the world by storm. And, you know, at the time, I was definitely saying my shit against TikTok, don't get me wrong. But the same criticisms that I had for TikTok, like data collection, like algorithmic nonsense being fed to our kids, was the same bullshit that I would say to even sites like Instagram with their Reel system. I would say sites like X with their algorithms. A lot of these algorithms are, none of these companies actually care about your kids. It doesn't matter what country your application is from. All of these companies are involved with feeding slop AI to our kids. I mean, hell, YouTube literally just invested money in an AI studio for babies, for children. It's insane what these companies are doing, okay? They'll say one thing, and then their money, their expenditures point to a whole different fucking story. And again, when it looked closer to targeted victory, for instance, they would have a campaign to undermine TikTok based on their internal emails, and the firm would also use a mix of genuine concerns and unfounded anxieties about TikTok in order to try to turn public and political sentiment against it. And of course, Targeted Victory was also working to get proactive coverage about Facebook into local media, because that's what these PR companies do. And alongside PR companies, lobby firms like Pelican State Partners that represent literally Meta Technologies right over here, as you can see through the F- database, which tracks this kind of stuff, will show you that, yes, Facebook pays for these smear ads. Back in the days of 2011, when Facebook was rivaling up against Google, literally right over here, they were hiring companies to talk about privacy problems facing Google. And does Google have privacy problems? Abso-fucking-lutely. But you know who also has privacy problems? Facebook. Platforms like Meta. Literally a month ago, Meta had a serious lawsuit where they were alleged that when it came to WhatsApp, they could dig into people's actual encrypted messages, right? Which I want to see where that lawsuit fucking goes to, because I genuinely have been wishy-washy and like careful of like WhatsApp for years, despite obviously family, friends, and co-workers actually using that dog shit. But it's funny to me that that Facebook will spend this money, and the only reason that it backfired was literally because they approached one person that not only declined the assignment, but just went public with the fact that, again, Facebook wanted this crazy smear campaign. That's what Facebook does. They work with PR companies, they work with lobby firms to guide the course of this kind of shit and basically ruin things for all of us. Now, is it just Facebook that's doing it? No. Clearly, there's plenty of platforms. Roblox is behind lobbying, as is Netflix, as is a lot of these big tech companies. And ultimately, it's just a bad situation for all of us. There are companies like Anthropic, the guys that run Claude, giving $20 million to a group pushing for AI regulations, the Public First Action. And of course, when you look into what the Public First Action does, they talk about highlighting a lot of these bills that, again, ultimately support things like Kids Online Safety Act, where, again, the data collection and mass surveillance stuff is being pushed. But again, these tech companies don't care. They're only giving this person $20 million because ultimately they advocate for keeping AI chips out of the hands of adversaries, which is a business benefit for companies in the United States, AI companies in general. Because if their counterparts on the other side of the world were ever able to surpass them, this whole bubble would blow up a lot fucking quicker than it is. Again, these companies spend millions of dollars ruining the internet and our world just so they can make an extra buck or two. It's fucking insanity. So you can actually verify this for yourself too. An individual by the name of Kim Carver in Louisiana actually had said that a Meta lobbyist brought him the language, and that when Apple found out, it went from 0 to 60 instantly. When they learned that we had amended the bill to include the App Store, they hired a number of lobbyists that they began to aggressively work the process. And it took my breath a little bit. Again, I really hate these politicians because honestly, first off, they get elected, they forget about their fucking constituents in every way, shape, and form. And because one tech company, not even in their state, by the way, okay, comes from like California, gives them a whole bag of fucking money, tells them, hey, we'll do kind of your homework for you, right? Like, you're supposed to be the fucking person writing this shit. You're supposed to be the person doing this. Hey, we'll help you out with your homework. We'll write the nice, cute bill that looks like you're protecting kids. But at the end of the day, it only really just benefits us. And it screws over some of our competitors in Silicon Valley. These people don't care about you. They just get paid big bucks. In any normal world, okay? These fucking politicians who sell you out should be put in fucking jail. And be, not just in jail, but be jailed forever, okay? Have tomatoes thrown at them like in the olden days, okay? Crazy shit. Obviously just a joke, but you get the idea. Now, ultimately, a lot of this led to the Digital Childhood Alliance, which, again, a lot of individuals like Bloomberg actually reported that Meta was one of the funders of this alliance. So remember, there's many companies involved. Facebook is just not the only one. They're definitely one of the more prominent and larger groups out there. But of course, this is an entire alliance that is sort of a makeup of like several other alliances and groups that want to push these acts. And you can really tell how useful these companies are, or these alliances are, and how large and well-funded they are with how much progress they're able to do at such a rapid pace. It's crazy that in 2-3 weeks, you might be like, Moody, you made a lot of content about this, but literally watch every single video that I made over here. Am I not introducing like a new law? At some point, it's from California, Colorado, New York, Illinois, now Kansas, Alabama. I mean, it seems like literally in the span of a month, weeks even, like plenty of laws have been introduced and discussed almost across the United States, beyond just party lines. It's crazy shit to see. So ultimately, one of the actual like researchers over here said that when it came to this advocacy group, basically they present themselves as a coalition of 50 conservative child safety organizations, later inflated to 140. And basically, when it came to them realizing and researching what this was, there was no IRS-exempt organization notification. There was no EIN number. So, for instance, if you go to the Digital Childhood Alliance, there is no EIN number that we can dig up and look through their public, if they had public information, public IRS information, that we would be able to
Who's the man? It has been long since I have seen you, sister. How fare you?
I have no
All right,
desire
Lord.
for small talk.
Can you stay with the Hullish, please, brother? That's all I ask. Be with the Hullish. Odin sired quite the family. And he raised us all to fend for ourselves.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2,
My you can't keep bottles like a fish.
6.
Answer now.
One head.
These squids reek of desperation.
Came to this advocacy group, basically they present themselves as a coalition of 50 conservative child safety organizations, later inflated to 140. And basically, when it came to them realizing and researching what this was, there was no IRS-exempt organization notification. There was no EIN number. So, for instance, if you go to the Digital Childhood Alliance, there is no EIN number that we can dig up and look through their public, if they had public information, public IRS information, that we would be able to
It's a living thing. It deserves to be free from
what they were
horns
funding,
and
who they were
bullets.
funded
Does
by,
something useful.
and what that.
Yikes! Too many tentacles! Too many tentacles!
Oh, breaking news, Benjamin Netanyahu live. Can I get that framed? Please, God. This is the superior genetics they were talking about. I just don't see it. Ball says, welcome home, Benjamin. What is real anymore?
As I stand here before you in flesh and blood, here are a few very important points I want to make clear to the rest of the world. 1, I am alive and well. All reports of me being dead are fake news. 2, we are winning this war. Let there be no doubt about it. 3, the days of Iran are counted. 4, I am not the president of the United States of America.
This is a fake video.
5, we will continue this war until the threat has been abolished completely.
It'd been funny if he did this and it was 6 fingers. If it was, I missed it.
And without a doubt. 6.
Yes, they did it. 6.
We must now stand united.
6 fingers, dead giveaway.
And strong in this fight for peace and democracy. And 7, beware of false claims and fake news. They are everywhere.
Oh my
As
God,
I stand.
so genius. Dropsite News says Iran's state-aligned Fars News reports on the situation at Karg Island after the U.S. attack. I don't care if Suleiman says it's Karaj Island. I'm still calling it Karg. Karg Island was targeted by U.S. airstrikes earlier today, with field sources reporting more than 15 explosions heard across the island. The strikes allegedly attempted to hit Army Air Defense Systems, the Jushan Naval Base, the airport control tower, and a helicopter hangar used by Iran's offshore oil company. Thick smoke was seen rising from your mother's vagina. Wait, no, that was something that happened earlier. That's not. I had to knock that out, sorry. I wouldn't do it if you paid attention in class. It's really your fault. Where were we? Sources said none of the island's oil export infrastructure was damaged. Iran had previously warned that if its energy infrastructure were attacked, oil and gas facilities across the region linked to the U.S. and its allies could be targeted in retaliation. Trump claimed the U.S. obliterated, he loves that word, all military targets on Karg Island. Trump's comments claiming that the island's air defense systems were completely destroyed have been contradicted as air defenses resumed activity hours after the strike. Why aren't they getting the memo that their air defenses are down? No, we said it, so it must be true. Trump has also repeatedly claimed Iran's missile capabilities have been destroyed, but Iranian officials note their armed forces just carried out the 48th wave of its missile and drone campaign. The 48th wave, dude. It goes by, it's like 24 hours goes by, and it's like, I remember the 19th wave, when I think that was the first time I heard about waves. It's like the 19th wave. That was like 3 days ago. We're on 48 right now. Donald Trump's like, yes, we've completely obliterated them. They're just on their 48th wave of missiles. The report from FARS has not been independently verified. All right, moving on. Have you checked with your Chosenites today? Do you have a chosen friend? Call them. See how they're doing in this trying time. Call them up and ask them if they're doing okay and have they tried crying about it. All right, lots of new breaking stories just in. Israel's preparing a major ground invasion of southern Lebanon. Yeah, they've been doing this for decades now. I'm sure it's going to go swimmingly. Aiming to seize all territory south of the Litany River. Dude, how many? I mean, this is like 2006 all over again. They always do this, and they always suck at it. Like, when are they going to learn? Not working out well for you. It's not working out well for Jew. Troops and reserves are being reinforced on the border ahead of the operation, which could become Israel's largest invasion of Lebanon since... Ding, ding, ding. 2000. Iraqis are now burning ball idols in Baghdad. You know, when they burn devils, that is really... Don't you think? Why do they call him Ball? I mean, it's pretty much a bull. Just say bull. More shots at Tel Aviv. Trump's billboard on the freeway is brilliant. I love that. Rabbi Poop is yet again, for another poopy time, decided to poop post. I wonder if that's him with his son. Yes, the Israeli doctors who saved the life of IDF soldiers and son of far-right Israeli politician Bezalel Smotrich are Israeli Arabs because in Israel an Arab Muslim can become a Supreme Court. Yeah, no, we've heard that lie that you love to tell.
I said the other day Israel will not be a state in 20 years.
That's putting it mildly.
It certainly will not be a democracy. It'll be an apartheid state, and the world will just reject, as they did South Africa.
Yeah, it's like Israel is the modern day Rhodesia, and you say, what's Rhodesia? And I say, exactly. Breaking, Marco Rubio has become the first person to ever cross the Delaware River in a Florsheim shoe. If you know, you know. You'll never guess who just arrived in hell. Stop. There's so much I can take. Yeah, if you're just joining us, there's much speculation about Netanyahu being alive or dead. Let's see, this is from Adam. Yair Lapid called on Israel to destroy all of Karg Island last week. Trump has now bombed it and is threatening to destroy it. Here's another translation from Hebrew from Yair Lapid. It's always really important and critical to listen to what Israelis are saying in their own native hiss, in their own native forked tongue. Israel must destroy all of Iran's oil fields, he says, and an energy industry on Karg Island. That is what will cripple. They're just begging to be destroyed. Like, everything that they say is going to happen to them. How have they not caught on yet? He says that is what will cripple Iran's economy and topple the regime. I thought you said it was going to be to assassinate Ali Khamenei. And the people would, rise up. Now you're switching your story. You know, the only entity in this conflict that has not changed their story is Iran. Yair Lapid, who I'm not sure what his official cabinet position is in the Israeli government. We'll have to find that out. I should know because I know that name. This war must end when the regime in Iran has fallen, the nuclear facilities have been destroyed, and all of the ballistic missile industry has been destroyed, and Hezbollah has been destroyed in Lebanon. Yeah, good luck. I think what's going to happen is if all those things happen, Israel will also be mutually assured destruction. Everybody's posting about Netanyahu. They all want to know, does the white smoke over Tel Aviv mean they've picked a new Epstein? Now, if you're just joining us, we do know that the Iranian government communicated to Tel Aviv a specific warning to a specific section of that city called Ramat Gan. And they said, if you live in Ramat Gan, the Tel Aviv neighborhood, you need to evacuate. And I wonder, what is the significance of Ramat Gan? The only thing I can sort of surmise here is that it must be a critical node in the Israeli intelligence and military apparatus. Trump was interviewed by Jake Paul. We are not a serious country.
I was a bit shocked too. Like everyone else in the world was like, this is the greatest thing. And I think what you're doing is phenomenal. And I was shocked that so many activists like in America didn't like it. But meanwhile, they're like, oh, well, we support women. We want women to have all these rights. Meanwhile, you're liberating.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're liberating women from their bodies, literally. Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, people in America are like upset. You bombed elementary school full of schoolgirls and killed 170 of them, but like, you're just trying to liberate women. And I thought, like, in America, we have like democracy and we want our women to be free. But also, I'm Jake Paul, and like I probably have brain damage from huffing paint as a kid and getting into fights.
Of Iran, and then they have an issue with it.
You can tell he's using the full capacity of the 3 brain cells that he has left just to conjure up this sentence.
I thought that was very confusing.
We support gays, but they throw gays off the buildings. Yeah. Okay, we support this. I mean, the things they do, and they're fighting. But I think I have tremendous support on this. This is
no, you don't. It's just historically bad. It's the polling shows. I mean, you don't have to think. We know the answer to these questions. We know how Americans feel. 80%. No, wait, let's see. I think it's somewhere in the 40s. It's like the 60% of the Americans are not in favor of this war, which I think is still too low. It should be like 80 to 90%. But I don't know. That was like, from early on in the war. I mean, I'm sure that every day that percentage rises because it is, according to reporting done by, I think, the New York Times, it kind of compiled a list of all of the wars that America has started and what was the approval rating of this war by the American people. And it's like the Epstein War, this war, the pedo war, whatever you want to call it, Operation APAC Fury, Epstein Fury. This is the least popular war in American history, and it's being waged by a president who is the least popular president in American history. So it's funny when he says, oh, I think I have tremendous support.
Something that's been incredible. I have the best poll numbers I've ever had.
We
now.
expect the unexpected.
What is he talking about? Oh my God, he's lying. He's just like lying and he doesn't care. It's just so provably false what he's saying right here. I cannot believe that he's able to do this with a straight face. My God.
Yeah. And it's not because of this. I think we've just, the economy is great. It's a little bit of we take a little winding road. For a little
We're just going on a little winding road. Trump, guys, what is Trump telling us? Trump started World War III as a side quest, a little excursion. It's a little short-term pain for long-term gain. Think about it. We're just going on a little long and winding, meandering road. One small through the breach, dear friend.
For a while, but we have to wipe out the evil. It's an evil curse. They're evil people.
I was a bit shocked too. Like everyone else in the world was like, this is the greatest thing, and I think what you're doing is
everyone else in the world. What are you talking about? You idiot. Yeah, everyone else in the world thought it was like a great thing, but like I was shocked. Like,
Last week there was some concern that his aides were misleading him, that they weren't showing Trump the polling that indicated that he is actually losing whatever's left of his popularity as a result of getting dragged into these interventions. Well, now the Wall Street Journal says that his aides have in fact briefed him on some polling about the war. Public polls released in recent days, the Wall Street Journal wrote, show that most Americans oppose the war. But here's how White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded to that. While many in the president's conservative base still support the initial operation, this is from the Wall Street Journal. This isn't Leavitt's quote, but the Journal notes, while some in the president's conservative base still support the initial operation, some of the president's advisors have privately expressed concerns that a longer war could deplete that support. But as far as what they're saying publicly, especially when it comes to Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, she says the vast majority of Americans support ending the threat posed by the Iranian regime and support killing terrorists. And that's what President Trump is going to accomplish. Okay, let's talk about what President Trump has accomplished so far in Iran. He has accomplished the bombing of an elementary school, killing 160 plus little girls and about 14 adults who happen to work at the school. He has managed to, I guess, decapitate the regime by taking out Ali Khamenei, who was then replaced by his son, who is a hardliner, much more hardline than his father was. And on top of that, just had several members of his family executed thanks to the United States and Israel. So he's going to be even more, I mean, that's the reason why they chose him. He's potentially going to be even more vicious, right? So what exactly did we accomplish here? We didn't accomplish anything other than forcing the American people to go deeper into debt to the tune of $1 to $2 billion a day. That's how much it's costing us to fight Israel's war. Be clear on that. Be informed on that. Know what you're getting yourself into when you support Trump's ridiculous interventionism. On top of that, one thing that's clear is that Trump has no idea what he's doing, Cenk. Last week, he said that Iran needs to surrender unconditionally, otherwise the war would not end. On Monday, he told the New York Post that even though earlier he said he was considering ground troops, now he's not considering it at all. Later that same day, Trump said that, the war could be over very soon. It could be over very soon. And then later that night, he said, we could go further and we're going to go further. So he is speaking from both sides of his mouth. He has no clear objective or goal here. And it seems that Trump is a better representative of the Israeli people as opposed to the American people, because take a look at this. So this compares US support for the war in Iran versus Israeli support. And as you can see, when it comes to Americans, 36% approve, 54% disapprove of military intervention in Iran. But the numbers are very different for the Israelis. 82% approve, 13% disapprove. And if you're wondering where these poll numbers come from, the top poll representing Americans was done by NPR PBS Marist from March 2nd through the 4th. And the Israeli polling was carried out by the Israel Democracy Institute from March 2nd through the 3rd. Cenk, back to you.
Yeah, so some of those Israelis rethinking that now that they're hiding in their shelters and crying about bombs hitting Israel. We'll share that with you later in the show. Look, another reason.